So the main aim of today's video is to get this engine started. Now, to do that, I need the key, which I have here, but it needs to be coded. So we are going to have to load it onto the transporter, go down the road to my friends who have Otis, who are able to code it to the car. They're going to code it, and then we'll be able to see if the car starts. Now, before I can do that, we obviously have to fit my new sump pan, and I have bought, a load of people said in the comments as well, I have bought the upgraded, if you will, metal pan, which is better because if there's an impact, it will dent instead of crack. So that's the main advantage of the metal pan. So we're going to fit that, we're going to put some oil in it, and we're going to put a new oil filter in it as well, and then we're going to see, fingers crossed, that it will start. I might not even bother with the oil filter yet because it might be redundant, so I might just check the oil filter, make sure it's not like 100 years old. But we're going to do that later in the video, because before I get it loaded up, I do just want to do a few bits to the front. So I'm going to get the main, like the bumper off, remove like the headlights, just remove all the stuff that's loose before we take it down the road. And also the wishbone that's bent, I did buy a second-hand one off eBay a few weeks ago, so I do just want to fit that, because in the event that the car does run, I want to be able to drive it off, and obviously we won't really be able to do that very well with a bent wishbone. So that is the plan. I hopefully we'll do a bit more in today's video as well, completely strip this front end down as well, but they are the main things we are going to try and achieve. So we are going to start off by removing the front bumper, removing the headlight mess, maybe removing that wing because it's sticking out quite a lot as well, and then I'll go ahead, fit the sump, check the oil filter, put some oil in it, and then we'll load it up onto the transporter, take it down the road to get this key coded, and then hopefully she will start, fingers crossed. Bit of good news as well, I was just panicking because I couldn't find the locking wheel key. It wasn't in its position that it should have been in the boot, but after removing the spare wheel and having a good look round, I eventually found it just discarded in the corner of the boot. So, whew, glad I had that. So, crisis averted straight away, got locking wheel keys so we can get the front wheels off and start doing bits. So, let's crack on. Right, so here's my nice new shiny metal sump to replace the broken plastic one. There's my nice shiny second-hand near side front wishbone, which should hopefully sort out the suspension and the driving side of things. Right, so made some headway, got a load of parts on the floor here, look. So removed all the front bumper, wheel arch liners, what was left of the washer bottle, managed to remove this wing, and what else have we got? That's pretty much all I've done so far. Here's our crumple zone. It's not actually as bad as I thought. I thought it was going to go into here a bit more, and it hasn't, look. Actually been quite lucky, and it looks like it's just impacted this branch bit here, and it only goes up to here, so we might be all right. I mean, it's only like 6 or 7 inches, so this all looks fine. So does the chassis legs at the moment, but I haven't got further into that yet. But it's all looking okay. Obviously we've got some damage to the door, which isn't ideal. That's bent, so that will need doing, but so far it's all looking, well, it's coming apart okay, nothing's screaming out at the moment. So now the next thing is to carefully remove this headlight and hope none of the lugs are broken on that. And then I will pull off this whole front panel and then see what damage is on the engine, if any, other than the sump. I mean, obviously we've got to remove the bonnet as well. So let's carry on and get this front bit off. Right, so that is now the front end fully off. Pile of crap here. Everything absolutely rubbish in that. There's a few bits I've left over there which are okay, but there's not much. Good news is though, the headlight on the offside headlight, all the brackets are intact. So that's one good thing. We do have quite a lot of wiring that's been, actually no, that was right. Like stripped connectors and stuff like that. There's quite a lot of those. I'm gonna have to try and work out where they go. There are a few more bits that we need behind here, so I'll need a new join here for the intercooler, new intake carb pipe here as well, look, because that's all crushed. Is this all right? I think that pipe might be okay. Got to clean up some more residue here. Definitely need a new auxiliary belt as well. But other than that, I think it's okay. I think my AC pipes are fine. I did make sure I removed them before the front end fell off so it didn't bend them. I think they're okay. Everything over this side else is fine. There's also a top coolant hose that I need, not a hose, sorry, a pipe, but I think the front end that I bought, they've cut the hose off, so I think the connector is okay, so we'll be able to hopefully make a good pipe out of those. Might be a bracket that's bent there, possibly, that hopefully should straighten, but other than that, it's looking okay. Oh no, this is bent, this is broken here, look, the connector. Might have to have a look at that. So, now we move on to the sump. So I'm just going to, plan is just to whip all these bolts out, stick the new one on, hopefully that'll be job done, and then we'll replace this wishbone as well. So still got a little bit to do before we can load her up. Right, I have just cleaned up all around the bottom of the sump. By the way, everything under there looks fine. Nothing else is damaged that I can see. So that is fine. No, that's all good. I've just put some silicone sealant around my sump. And I've got the new metal sump, which is considerably heavier than the plastic one. However, it is better because it won't crack. Right, so now we've just got to put it into position. Carefully. Like so. Right, so it's in position now, so I'm just going to go around and put the rest in and then we'll nip them up. Well, that was very nearly a disaster, so come across a bit of a problem. See the plastic sump here, look, if you can see the lip on it is what, 9-10 mil thick there. Now the lip on the metal sump is, what's that, 4 mil? 5 at best. So now I've got a problem where my bolts are about 5 mil too long. So I got away with it here, as you can see, because the bolts can come out the other side of the thread. But here, look, where the bolts sit in a housing, they are all too long. Now I've managed to get away with it by finding some temporary bolts, if you can see, look, temporary bolts here, and I also managed to use the bolts that come out the wing. They were perfect. So I've managed to put bolts in enough to hold it and for the silicone to set properly. But now I've got to go and order some new bolts. I mean, I could just cut the heads off of them all by about 5 mil, but if I'm honest, that'll take ages, can't be bothered. And I'd rather get, I mean, a pack of bolts the same as this, 5 mil short, is only going to be a couple of quid. So, yeah, so that's pointless. So I need to order some all new bolts for them. Other than that though, it's all in position, so it's all good. Sensors in position, all plugged in, so that is all fine. Now we move on to my bent wishbone, and I'm hoping that's going to be fairly straightforward too. Right, so that is now the wishbone and the sump all in position, so they should be fine. Interesting update, Ari, this post here. I think it's some good news. I've just been onto Volkswagen and I can actually buy this piece. It goes from here and it's just an external piece and it goes to here. Now, I don't actually know how I'm going to work it at the moment. I don't know if it's going to be better if I try and drill out and replace the whole panel, or if I maybe cut and weld it here. I don't know yet, but the good news is the whole piece was 80 quid, which is a lot cheaper than I've been looking online to buy sort of a second-hand piece, and I don't have to mess around going to collect it either. So I've ordered that. That'll be here in the next day or two. I've also ordered a new charge pipe online. Now, because obviously we're going big turbo, there was the discussion that if you see the pipe here, look, that's the outlet from the turbo, and you can see how small that pipe is. Now, I was wondering, because obviously we're going big turbo, would I need to upgrade that pipe? And there was an interesting thread I read about whether that pipe is too small or it's sufficient or not, and apparently it's absolutely fine up to around 500 brake horsepower. That pipe poses no problems. So I was having a look. The upgraded charge pipe kits were around 300 quid for just a bigger diameter one that goes all the way down to here, but because they're not needed, I didn't buy one. So I've bought a second-hand one for 50 quid from a Golf R, which will be here in the next few days hopefully, and that is all we actually need on the front. And then once I've replaced that pipe, I might put the front end back on. In fact, I might even put it I don't know whether to try and put the front end back on now, or the new front end, and replace that at a later date. Guaranteed I'll regret it, because no, in fact, no, I'm not going to bother, because I know what's going to happen. It's going to be an arse. So no, I'm going to leave that. Now, I'll quickly just show you what I already have for the car. There was a bit of a cock up with regards to basically I bought a whole front end kit which consisted of most things that I need, bar obviously the small things that I couldn't account for, i.e. the charge pipe and stuff. But I bought this as a carbon grey front bumper, bonnet and the wings. Now, as they were being shipped out, the seller come back to me and said, oh my god, I'm sorry, I thought they were carbon grey. They're not. It's limestone grey, which is just a lot lighter shade of grey. And as you can see there, look. So he offered me a £300 discount, which I took because it was already the cheapest one on there, and none of the others were in the right colour anyway, so I ended up accepting the cheap price plus another 300 quid off for everything. But now, because obviously I've got a bonnet, bumper, both wings there as well, headlights, other stuff, and do I morph it into a I could put a limestone grey front end on, leave the rest carbon and blend the doors. Well, that looks stupid. So basically I'll just start dark grey, and as I get towards the front it ends up being light grey. So all I'd have to do is fade the doors. I mean, the other door needs painting anyway because it's creased. So actually all I'd have to do additional is get that door faded from carbon grey to limestone grey. Would that look stupid? Let me know in the comments. Probably I'm being an idiot right now, but it will save me a lot of money painting the whole front end carbon grey. So the last main bit, apart from obviously my little post here that needs to be replaced, that I need to remove, is the bonnet. So I'm just going to undo the tabs now, go and get my dad, and he will help me just take that away. I'm not going to put the new bonnet on yet, as tempting as it is, because I don't know what I'm doing with this post here yet, so I might need to remove it again. So there's no point putting it back on. So a few bolts, get my dad to help me take that away, and then we are at a nice base to start putting things back together as parts turn up. Try again. Oh, please come off, please come off. Out. Brilliant. Whose idea is this? Bloody hell. don't damage the rest of the car. Oh my god! There we go. Easy. Right, so that's the bonnet now off, so we need to now load it onto the transporter, ready to go get the key coded. Before we do that, we have to clean this massive mess of crap here. There we go, that is that cleaned up. Now we've got to get the transporter under the GTI, get it loaded on, ready for us to go code this key. Right, I have just loaded the Golf onto the transporter, as you can very well see, and I am now going to go down the road and get the key coded. Now, my plan is to just drive the truck into their workshop with the car on. I'm going to leave it in there. I'm going to walk out, and I'm hopefully going to get them to code the car. They will obviously have to try and start it just to make sure it works. And my plan is to not be there when they do it, and I just want them to give me the key back, so I don't know whether it works or not. They're just going to tell me either yes, it's worked as in it's coded, or it's not. So that is the plan. So let's go down the road now, and I'll catch you back here in a minute. I've just got back from the garage that kindly coded the key for me. It has been coded, but that is as far as I know. I drove it into their workshop, I gave them the key, I said I'm going to walk out and walk around, see what other cars you've got, just have a little nosy. You code the key and then just tell me when it's done. Do not tell me if it starts or not, just tell me whether the key's coded. And that's exactly what they did. Only took about 5 or 6 minutes in the end, came out, gave me the key. Very good poker face. So I have no idea whether it actually starts or not. So what we're gonna do now, annoyingly, I can't film outside. Again, it's windy, but it's a really nice day, but obviously my camera is rubbish. So I really do need to pull my finger out and get a new one. But yeah, I've just poked it back in the workshop, as you can see. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to unload it. Gravity will let it fall off the trailer, and then we will go for a start. Fingers crossed it works. Now, this is probably a really odd part in the video because most people are probably hoping that the engine doesn't run so I get to forge it. But me, however, I'm really hoping it does run because forging it is going to cost a lot of money. So it is what it is though. If it runs, it runs. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So let's get in. I've just put, by the way, I've filled it with oil. I've checked the oil filter was fine. I connected the jump pack, got the key. So all we got to do is give it a go. Fingers crossed it will start. Woo! Start. You sound sweet. Another one runs. That's good. Yes, another one runs. Thank God for that. Obviously, I'm not going to leave it running too long with no front end, no intercooler or anything like that on. But yeah, that is a bit of a relief, so that is good. So we don't have to worry about the engine at this stage too much. So yeah, now it should actually be pretty straightforward. Maybe this isn't turning out to be quite as bad as I thought. As long as I fix that post in the top left hand corner relatively straightforward, then actually it's not going to be too bad, I don't think. So yeah, now I've just got to wait for this hard pipe to turn up, and then I can put the front end on and start rebuilding it. That top post should be here in the next couple of days as well. So the next video, guys, it should actually be pretty much going back together. So yeah, So guys, that is it for today's video. Made quite a good bit of progress today, more than I'd actually thought I was going to make. Engine runs, most of the bits has come off, and I had some good news about that top post that I was worried about. So in the next video, it should actually all be going mostly back together, which means we'll be able to get it back running back as standard sooner, which means we can start modifying it sooner. So as always guys, thank you very much for watching. Good news as well, my TTS supercharger has just turned up, so unless anything turns up relatively quickly on this, the next video will be on the supercharged RS4. So as always guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers guys.